Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Odin's Movie Blog. I am the critic who is a cynic. How is everyone doing this evening? Welcome back to the One Man Low Council. Happy Tuesday to everyone out there. There's a new graphic on the screen, so shout out to my boy John the Flick Pick, who actually designed this for me. So I'm trying it out today, seeing how it works out. I'm going to try and add some more text as I figure out exactly how to use the whole ticker function, including having a message explaining how to use Odin Question on YouTube and all that kind of fun stuff. But yeah, it's a new toy, and so far I like it. So far I think it looks quite dashing, and shout out once again to the Flick Pick for designing that for me. But let's go ahead and shout some people out really quick. So we got Captain Phonemo over on D-Live. We got Captain K-Man over there as well. Mr. Roy, Captain Mr. Roy is celebrating a 6-month sub streak over there as well. Adam Frank is over there. What is going on, Adam Frank and the clan? Donating those 4 lemons over on D-Live. I appreciate you very, very much. We got Superfan Adam Shawhan over in the YouTube chat as well as Frank the Tank. Clark Kent's in the YouTube chat. Zion Waters is in the chat as well. GMonkey76, HyperNX13, Alex McCarthy, who is a member of the Odin's Movie Vlog channel. Once again, thank you so much, Alex McCarthy, for hitting that membership icon. He is using that okay GIF that he has access to as a member. And while I'm on the subject of that, shout out to the K-Man, Out of Step with Reality, Alex McCarthy, and Nitrium for being my first 4 members on the channel. So thank y'all so much for that support, and I cannot wait to try and add more content for you guys over on the channel. We got Ruthie in the chat. What's going on, Star Wars for Life? We got Father Christopher Miller. Hail to you, Father. Slice of Neons, Pin Drop in the chat as well. Josue Veguilla is in the chat. Peter Sharon's here. Alex Garth says, howdy, Odin. How's it going on this fine day of Tuesday? It's going okay. It's going okay, but everyone's streaming right now. Ryan from RK Outpost is streaming. What you streaming right now for, man? You you also have Jedi Bunny streaming right now, too. And I'm like, what? Why is everyone streaming? Why is everyone now deciding to stream on Tuesdays at this time? I don't understand it. It makes no sense to me. But I know that they're all good people. I love RK Outpost, love Jedi Bunny, so shout out to them. Soul Assassin's in the chat as well. We got Out of Step with Reality, another member on the channel saying, it's Odin, what's going on? Out of Step with Reality. I appreciate you being here, and thank you for being a member as well. Orange Pill, thank you very much for following me over on D-Live. Captain Dean Heiss says, ahoy, Odin. Well, ahoy to you, good sir. Hello. Let us see. What else is going on? Law Council, yes. Zinewater says, hail Odin, hail to you, good sir. HyperNX13 says, I thought this would be cute. Martin Scorsese, Quentin Tarantino, Todd Phillips, and Sam Mendes bow to Bong Joon-ho, then my friends, you bow to no one. Bow is back, Aragorn style. Now, that would be freaking awesome. For those that are not aware of the reference, Bong Joon-ho, when he won the Oscar for Best Director, just did nothing but shout out all of the other directors, including getting a standing ovation for Martin Scorsese. And so that was awesome, an amazing thing. And he shouted out everyone else in the category as well. That would be awesome. Hyper, and that would be really cool to see that happen. Out of Step with Reality says, it's Odin bringing the hammer down, always bringing that hammer down whatever way I possibly can. Captain Phonemo says, Hedgehog good, Birds bad, was actually just meh. Yeah, I haven't seen Birds of Prey all the way through yet. I've watched about half of it and just am not impressed. Just very a blah film overall. Definitely not a complete train wreck. I've seen complete train wrecks before, and so far I agree with you. It's been a complete meh of a film. Allegedly, of course, me watching part of the film. Hedgehog for me was not great. It wasn't bad either. It was just a kid's movie, and as a kid's movie, it's fine. I was just going and expecting a family movie, and there is a key difference. And it's so funny. In my review for Sonic, there were so many people hating on my review because they thought I was too critical of it. It's like, look, all I'm saying is that it's a kid's movie. And there's nothing wrong with it being a kid's movie. I just went into it thinking that it would be a family movie. The difference is when it's a kid's movie, to me, kids' movies always gear more towards kids. The jokes are always geared towards kids, and there's not a whole lot of jokes for adults. I just didn't feel like Sonic had a lot of those jokes in there, right? It didn't remind me a lot of some older school comedies. Like, I would even go to the earlier Pixar films from, the earlier Disney Pixar films from the 90s. Those films felt more like family films where there was a lot of adult humor in there that was kind of hidden away, that went over kids' heads. The things that you go back now and say, wait a minute, that was in that movie or that was in that TV series. One of the best examples is the show Animaniacs. That show, made for kids, has so much adult humor, right? That's what makes it a family show versus what Sonic is, which, again, this is my opinion, and you are easily entitled to your own opinion. I just felt like it was more of a kid's movie, and that's not what I wanted out of it. I wanted it to be more like Detective Pikachu, to be honest, because Detective Pikachu, to me, was more of a family film. There was a lot of stuff in there that I was able to enjoy as an adult, but there was also, of course, a lot of things that kids could enjoy as well. And I think a big part of that, though, is the voice casting and the voice acting for Sonic. I think that if the voice acting had been different and had been arguably better than what it was, I probably would have had a better opinion of the film. Having Ryan Reynolds as Detective Pikachu, I think, added an extra level to the character, added that extra level of meta where adults would be able to appreciate just even the randomness of his character before. Where with Sonic, I just didn't really have that same opinion. Again, if you love the film, hey, I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I'm glad that you're happy. And guess what? I'm happy that the film is doing well. I'm ecstatic that the film is doing well. I'm loving the fact it's doing well at the box office because I still stand by that film should be doing well because it respected the fans. It paid respect to the fans, and I still hold to that. So I don't know why everyone was getting so very sensitive about my thoughts on the movie. Captain Heist, thank you for the 2 ice cream donation as well. Captain Phonemo says, Sonic was a good kids movie. It was also a nice palate cleanser after all the Oscar movie watching. I think that makes sense. No, Captain Phonemo, that makes total sense. That makes absolute total sense to me. And yeah, I think that you're right. I think that it is definitely a film that is unlike a lot of the stuff that we have coming out in modern Hollywood, and it's fine. It's fine. The K-Man, thank you for the ice cream donation. I appreciate it very, very much. All right, jump back over to jump back over to the YouTube. Welcome to my Madhouse says, I am so glad Odin liked my movie. Welcome to my Madhouse. It's been a long time since I've seen that channel name in here. Demajanai's in here. What's going on, Demajanai? He says, hail, brother. Hail to you, good sir. Thank you very much for stopping by. Check out Demajanai's channel. He's a good dude. He's a good, cool dude. Sasha Neon says, don't take those monks giving you the silent treatment personally. It's just what they do. I see what you did there, Slicer. That's referencing, I went on a retreat this weekend to a Benedictine monastery, and it was awesome. It was definitely more of a low-key retreat, not heavy-duty at all, but we actually got to pray the Liturgy of the Hours with them. And so we were up. I was up at the very least. Not everyone in the group was. Some of the students were just, they slept in, which of course is what they'll do. Getting up at 5:30 is really not their scene. For me, though, it is. I was like, I was up at 5. I got to shower, and then I was ready for prayer. And it was just an amazing experience. And so I'm trying to now carry that over into my daily life. Got up at 6 this morning, actually, to pray the Divine Office, to pray Office of Readings, is what it's called now, and morning prayer, because that's what we prayed with them, which for them, it's called Matins and Lauds. For anyone that's old school, any old school Latin people out there, that's what the hours originally were called. And it's still called for monks to this day, especially those under the rule of St. Benedict. But it was great. It was awesome. Had a great experience with that. But yeah, I see what you did there. And these were not silent monks, by the way. All right, so these are monks that did not take a vow of silence. Father Christopher Miller says, be grateful you have a Best Buy near you. I just got back from driving 6 hours to drop my laptop off today at Geek Squad. Nearest one is 3 hours away. Holy crap. 3 hours away? That's insane. Wow. I've never lived in a town where there hasn't been a Best Buy at least within 30 minutes. Damn, that's crazy. Sarah, what's going on over on D-Live says, a Benedict Cumberbatch monastery? Yes, exactly. Exactly, Sarah. A Benedict Cumberbatch monastery. You're exactly right. Alex Garthy says, now John Talks just went live. Of course he did. John Talks, I feel like, goes live every single day now. John Talks is live streaming too much. He needs to calm down a little bit. He needs to calm down just a little bit. Maybe just a little bit. Maybe just a wee bit to calm down. Perhaps. Father Chris Miller says, also disagree with you on Sonic. Thought it was awesome. Predictable, yes, and geared towards children, but still a fun story. Be blessed. And again, Father, I respect that opinion. I will say this much, though. The biggest part to me that I hated was the product placement, because it was so obvious. And I know some people found that funny, but to me, I was like, really? Like that was my reaction to it. I was like, really? Oh, I was just on Zillow. And I'm like, that's how you're going to do it? You're not even going to try and be like nice and subtle about it? And I know that for some people, they found that funny. I think that the reason why I didn't find that nearly as funny is because I think in one of the reviews that I had watched prior to, they had mentioned the product placement. And so when it happened, I was like, oh, it really is blatantly obvious that they're doing it. And I just personally just did not really find that as funny. Captain Mr. Roy, thank you for the diamond donation over on DLive, and also thank you for the 5 ice cream donation as well. I appreciate you. As Captain Mr. Roy is dropping the gif of me dancing over there. Thank you very much, good sir. I appreciate it. Let us see here. HyperNext13 says, dude, you're not the only one. Amazing Lucas gave his honest thoughts on Sonic just like you, and he has 2,000 dislikes. Dude, Hypern, it's so insane. It's amazing how all of these hardcore fans come out to defend their films. I remember when I was being critical of Endgame, the Marvel fans hated me. They went after me. They destroyed me in the like to dislike ratio and in the comment section. Whenever I went after the DCEU films, right? When I didn't love Aquaman, because I gave a C+ to Aquaman, but because I wasn't just praising the altar of the DCEU, and because I've mentioned in passing that I thought that Zack Snyder was not a good director and was not a good visionary person for the DC universe, they went crazy. It's amazing how fans are just so sensitive to that kind of stuff, right? It wasn't even like I was being an ass about it either. I was just giving my honest thoughts and honest opinions. You know, if I'm being an ass about it, hey, obviously at that point, I'm welcoming that. If I'm going to be an ass about it, yeah, absolutely come after me. But when I'm just saying, hey, this is just my honest thoughts, I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Let's see. Adam over on DLive says, thank you for the donation to Odin. Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Captain Phonemo says, it is the internet. It needs to hate something. You're right. Internet always needs to hate on something. Captain High says, allegedly watched Ford v Ferrari over the weekend. Excellent movie. Guess I'll actually have to buy it now. Dude, yeah, don't you allegedly watch that movie, because that's a fantastic film. That deserves your money. Ford v Ferrari does. Sarah says, I like BVS director's cut. I haven't seen the director's cut because no matter what you tell me, adding an extra 30 minutes of footage is not going to fix the major problems of the film, because it's not just the story. That's the problem with the movie. It's the characters, it's the CGI. Almost every aspect of the film is problematic, and that can't be fixed with 30 minutes of extra footage. Just saying. Just saying, man. Oh, Out of Step with Reality says, heads up, they have a pre-order for Sonic the Hedgehog Steelbook on Zavi, also to inform anyone else interested. Yeah, so for me, I do not plan on picking that movie up on Blu-ray. I don't plan on picking... As I said, I just wasn't a big fan of it. And again, that's going to happen. We're going to have movies that we like together. We're going to have movies that we disagree on. And obviously, I think a lot of people in my community really did enjoy and really do like Sonic. And hey, I respect y'all's opinions on that. It's just not my opinion that I share. But for anyone that is interested, on Zavi right now, there is a Sonic the Hedgehog Steelbook available for pre-order. Again, I do not plan on buying the 4K Steelbook version of the film. Once we start doing giveaways, once the Blu-ray is out, I don't mind giving that one away and buying it to give away to others that want it. But I do not plan on buying one for myself. Just not really my cup of tea. Not my cup of tea. 70B says, we Valks are here and are ready. Boom, Stephanie B and Tina B in the chat. Thank you very much, Valks, for being here. Being awesome as always. Slice of Neon says, maybe your opinion will change when you bring some kids with you to a movie like Sonic. And oh, man, yeah, for those that didn't see my review, I had this little kid, this little movie critic next to me, who even from the trailers was making commentary. It was amazing. Imagine having your own personal audio commentary for a movie, only it's a child and they're an idiot. That's what I had the whole time during Sonic. And some people say, and I think that there's some validity to it, to be honest, that, well, maybe that took away from your experience. Maybe that's one of the reasons why you didn't like it. But for me, I feel like if a movie's really, really good, for me at least, even that kind of nonsense can't distract away from the, from the greatness of the film. I was I was falling asleep. Like, I was actually on the brink of falling asleep in the movie. I was bored, right? Again, I can't fix that. I can't change that. And if you don't like that, I say these things, then you don't like people giving their honest opinions on things, and that's up to you. But I'm just being honest here. I found a lot of it boring, and the reason why is because for me, it became across as more of a kid's movie. I wasn't able to really connect to it at all. And I know that there's some people out there that are saying, well, of course it's a kid's movie. What do you expect? I expected a family film. Family films I love. I love family movies because there's something for everyone. That's why it's called a family movie. It has something for everyone. It has something for the kids, for the teenagers, and for the parents. This one, to me, geared more towards the kids, right? Were there a couple moments you could argue were funny and entertaining for the adults? Sure, absolutely, right? I think that you could argue that there's moments like that in there. For me, there just weren't enough. And that's just me. That's just a personal preference on me. Let us see here. What else is going on? We got the D-Live chat is going crazy. Sarah says, what did you give Alita? I gave Alita, I believe, an A- or an A. I thought that film was fantastic. I personally liked that film a lot. I thought the story was great. The CGI effects, also very impressive. The Uncanny Valley still could not be totally overmatched, but I think for what they had with the technology, it was brilliant. I have that one on 4K. I thoroughly enjoyed that one. Also, since Sarah, you're new over on D-Live, if you have a question or comment, just put @Odin at the beginning of it. That way I know you're not talking to anyone else in the chat. And that way I know to contact you, or rather that's way I know to read your message and to talk and to answer the questions and everything like that. So you don't have to donate or anything over on D-Live or on YouTube for that matter, but just let me know that you're talking to me. So @Odin over on D-Live. If you're over on YouTube, put Odin question, all one word, Odin question. It'll pop up orange on my screen on YouTube, and I'll know, hey, you're trying to get my attention. All right, let's see. All right, chat jumped on me like it normally does. I'm sure people have made a drinking game out of that already. All right, let's see. Where did we leave off? Let's see. Hypern says, that's why I appreciate your honesty, even if sometimes I could disagree with you on some movies. You are the cynical critic after all. That's the other thing, too. Like, seriously, that's the thing that I don't understand. When I open up with every video saying, I am the critic who is a cynic, and I'm cynical about a movie, what were you expecting? Were you expecting the optimist? Because that's just not who I am, right? I consider myself to be more of a realist, but many people take my realism as cynicism, right? And I do admit that I can definitely be cynical on a lot of things, but I own that, right? I own that I can be cynical on those things, which is why it's a part of my tagline. It's part of the reason why I say that every single video. It's not just some fun thing I say. It's because it's true. Jeremy Swiggs says, hello. I missed you guys. I missed you, Jeremy Swiggs. As I miss everyone in here. You guys are all freaking awesome. Wasted Anguish, I see you in here. What's going on? Alex McCarthy says, I got up at 6, then I realized it was 6, so I went back into sleep until 11. Well, I have school, so I can't sleep in that late. But I got up at 6, and I was like, this is perfect. Ended up having enough time to pray for everything, was able to do even just a little schoolwork before leaving, and then got to go to Mass in the morning. It was great. It was awesome. Zinewater says, I get that getting up early for church stuff. I know many who go to our temples early in the morning and they find it very spiritual. There's something about the early morning hours that's just very beneficial, right? You know, everything's still dark, it's calm, it's quiet. And I think that's kind of like that perfect time to be able to, quiet down, get ready for the day. It's a great way to start the day. I could definitely recommend it. Let's see, Hybrid X13 says, I watched a documentary on World War I, and it's interesting seeing how certain empires like Austria-Hungary and Ottoman fell, and also America's involvement to help the British and French. Yeah, World War I is the war that is the most overlooked, I believe, right? Because obviously World War II had a tremendous impact, and a lot of lives were lost, and of course it is, there's a reason why they're both called world wars, right? But World War I, to me, which is one of the reasons why I like 1917, is a film, or rather is a war I actually would like more information about as far as movies go. I get most of my information from, audiobooks and from movies, right? Those are my two main mediums these days. And I would love to see more films, not dealing with, not random dramedies, that are dealing with, fictional elements to the wars, but, actual like Saving Private Ryan type films, but for World War I instead, focusing on actual events, focusing on things that happened during the war. Even for me, as you just mentioned, talking about all the empires and all the, the countries that existed during that time. I would love to find out more about that. And, obviously people could say, read a book, read a history book. I'm not much for reading an actual book, and audiobooks to textbooks don't really transfer very well either. So I would love for them to be able to spend a little bit of extra time on that period of history. That'd be great. Let's see. Sarah over on DLive says, did you like It Follows? I did, actually. I did. I thought that, and I don't like horror films typically, but I feel like the twist in that movie, the main premise of the film was very intriguing and was able to really just keep my attention on the film. Obviously, I don't like, this is just me in general, I don't like when films have to focus on the element, on sexual elements too much, but I think that for a horror film, I think that it actually had some really interesting commentary about sexuality itself. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But yeah, I overall liked the film. I thought it was very interesting. Let's see. Tina said, you said that Olive Garden line, and I started laughing, and I don't even know why. Maybe lack of sleep from packing this week. Yep. Seriously. Like the Olive Garden stuff to me was just a little too much. It was a little too much for me. And I know that for some people, they probably thought it was funny. And hey, I'm glad you liked it. I just, for me, it was too much for me. It was a little too much for me. Let's see what else we got going on. Bruce, what's going on, Bruce? Tina says, 70 and I only criticized your weak opinion of Aquaman because of Jason Momoa and the fact that real dolphins can't act yet. Otherwise, you are good. Yeah, so Tina and Steph have gone after me for my opinions on Aquaman, but it's because they are just obsessed and in love with Jason Momoa. And guess what? I can respect that, right? When they say we love the movie because we love Jason Momoa, I say, okay, I understand that. He's a beautiful man. That makes sense to me. I look a little bit further past that, but hey, at least I can respect that. Jeremy Swig says, Odin's paraphrasing, come at me, bro. Yes, indeed. Dark Nest says, which is worse, internet or Disney? Internet for sure. Yeah, I mean, Disney is an empire and all empires fall. The internet is just a whole other animal altogether. Spartan Jeremy says, I have a question, an Odin question. How are things, my man? I see what you did there. Well, thank you for the question. Things are going fine. Voice is a little tired today. Don't really know why. And overall, my spirits are high. Had a little bit of less sleep last night than normal, but for the most part, doing okay. Doing just fine. Cat Nemo over on DLive says, I never understood the appeal of It Follows, and I've watched it like 6 times. Yeah, and it's a film I can understand is not for everyone. It's kind of like, I watched that film the same time I watched a Australian horror film called The Babadook, which I also thoroughly enjoyed too. And I think that the main reasoning as to why both of those films are usually put in the same category is because not everyone is a fan, right? Not everyone is going to enjoy it the same way. Not everyone is going to be able to, I guess, not just get it, but also enjoy that type of filmmaking, right? Enjoy that type of storytelling. And they're not for everyone. They're not everyone's cup of tea. Like, those are films where I'm like, hey, I can understand why I enjoy it, but I can also understand why other people might not enjoy it as well. So, Reed, thank you very much for the donation. And sadly, because Streamlabs just sucks nowadays, I'm going to have to pull up a separate window now because I want to read that whole chat. But holy crap, Reed, thank you very much for the $30 donation via Streamlabs. That's freaking awesome. Thank you. So let me see if I can find my notifications over. Now I have to actually go to the dashboard over on the website instead. And it's just ridiculous. It's just so ridiculous. I don't understand. See, this is what I used to have, and I don't have it anymore. So anyway, Reed, thank you very much for the donation. Says, how can it be expected that a show based on existing fan base would succeed if it does not follow its history and characters? Now, history war films are under fire as it does not fit the narrative. If you do not know history, then you repeat it, and Reed, there's so much truth to that. If you don't know your history, you are indeed doomed to repeat it. And that's why that is a very common expression. But also, you make a great point about everything else, right? Again, how can you expect it for a show based on an existing fan base to succeed in anything if you don't acknowledge the history and the characters? There's so much truth to that. That's something that Star Wars, that Lucasfilm could easily learn from. If you're going to try and tell a story but ignore everything that came beforehand and say, kill the past if you have to, then how in the hell could you expect that to succeed? If you're going to make Birds of Prey and you're going to make all the characters not like the characters in the comics because you're trying to push an agenda, why would anyone want to watch that? That's why Sonic is doing well, because Sonic is the character. Sonic is not trying to be anything else but the character from the games, right? Obviously, it's trying to expand to a broader audience too, but it does so by respecting the original fan base as well. So very wise words as always, Reed. So thank you for that donation. Thank you for the wise words as always. And you're spot on, Reed. You are absolutely spot on there. All right, jumping back over to the D-Live for a second. Before Ghost, I see you there, says making some NPC noises over there. Sarah says, have you watched the short film Astartes? No, I've actually never heard of it either. Let me know more. Adam says, I enjoyed watching you and the babies in the snow. Just wanted you to tell, brother. Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, so he's talking about the video I made over on the Welcome to Asgard channel of my dogs playing in the snow for the first time. First time they had ever experienced snow, about a week or so. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's only been like a week and a half or so since the snow came, and they were loving it. It was great. It was so freaking beautiful too. So yeah, check out the secondary channel, Welcome to Asgard, if you want to see that. Vampire Dude, thanks for the follow and for the lemon donation. Thank you very much, Vampire Dude. I appreciate it. All right, jumping back over to the YouTube chat as well. Let us see here. HyperX13 says, random fun fact, J.R.R. Tolkien wasn't a fan of Frank Herbert's novel Dune, but he was classy enough to still be a gentleman and recommend it to others to try it out. Boom, and that's what it is, right? That's what it really comes down to. It comes down to the fact that even though he personally did not like it, he was able to appreciate a certain element to it, right? And that's what I've always tried to be that, I've always tried to have that approach where, hey, even if I don't like something, even if I'm not the biggest fan of something, if I can appreciate some artistic value, or if I can appreciate some, special quality to it, then you know what? I'm going to call that out, and I'm going to give credit where credit's due. Also, it looks like, I don't know why a notification didn't pop up, but Edgardo Martinez, thank you very much for becoming a member of the channel. I don't know why it didn't give you props, man, but thank you for becoming a member over on YouTube. Edgardo Martinez says, okay, I made it early today. Glad to see you in the chat, man, and thank you for becoming a member. I don't know why it didn't pop up that you had become a member. But yes, I have memberships now, by the way. If you have not been able to tell from my videos, there's now a nice little shiny join button. So if you want to have access to gifts, which Alex McCarthy has been using. If you also want to get access to extra content, the descriptions are available. If you hit the join button, you'll see all the different tiers and all the different content you get. The one that's really cool right now is at the $10 tier, you get access to a special podcast. It's a bi-weekly podcast that I'm doing with John the Flick Pick. So one episode currently is live on the channel, and we're going to be recording our next one within the next few days or so. It should be premiering next week. We're trying to record this week. If not this week, then next week. It'll be live next week, though. So if that's something that interests you, check out the memberships over on YouTube. Obviously, you have Patreon Subscribe Star as well, but for some people, they like memberships on YouTube as well. So, Edgardo Martinez, thank you very much for becoming a member on the channel. Appreciate you, bro. Let us see here. HyperX13 said, I had some annoying children when I watched a screening for Princess Mononoke, so I totally get where you're coming from, Odin. And that's the worst kind of film, too, because those are films that are not made for kids. Those are films that are made, I would say, actually for a more mature audience, but are, again, those are more family-oriented films, right? And what I love about Studio Ghibli is that it shows animation is not just a kid genre. It's also one that can be made for adults. It's also one that can be made for just families in general. So that's a film I would not want that kind of distraction for. That's for damn sure. Adam, thank you very much for posting links. I'm not sure what those are links to, but I appreciate you linking. I'm assuming those are to the secondary channel. All right, let's see. All right, Bruce made a comment, but let me go ahead and chat jumped on me once again. So let me scroll back a little bit. Just that way I can try and get everyone's comments. All right, Bruce says, it's okay, Odin. It'll be a Blu-ray buy, if not for me, then for the grandkids. I'm normally the one that buys them the Blu-ray of the movies that they like. So Bruce talking there about Sonic. And yeah, it seems like that kind of movie, right? If you're buying it for the kids, if you're buying it for, a family member, things like that, that makes sense to me, right? And even if you enjoy it, if you're a Sonic fan and you enjoyed the film, that makes total sense. That makes total sense to me as to why you would buy it. For sure. Darkness says, I liked Alita, but it's overrated in my opinion. And Darkness, you're entitled to your opinion, man. Absolutely entitled to your opinion. I personally enjoyed it a lot. I feel that it was underrated because obviously critics were not a huge fan of it. Obviously, audience members and fans of the movie, I think, overhype it. But I think that it's not that it's overhyped. It's that we are trying to make up for all of the media backlash against it, right? The media were hard against that movie, and still to this day are trying to say that, oh, she was over-sexualized as the character, and therefore we can't enjoy the film. So I think that it comes across as being overhyped, but it's not, if that makes any sense, it's not actually being overhyped, right? Because is it a film with flaws? Absolutely, but I think that it's a damn good time at the cinema. That's where I personally stand on that issue. Let's see. Nathan Slay says, I had a woman who brought their baby to Toy Story 4 and was sitting next to me. What a fantastic experience. And you know what? They feel bad. I feel so bad for it too, because it's not the baby's fault. It wasn't that kid sitting next to me's fault. It's the parent's fault. It's just like anytime you're anywhere and the kid starts crying or going crazy, I look at the parents because I'm just like, if it was me, if I was bringing my kid to a movie and my kid started crying, I would walk out. I would bring my child out into the hallway and calm them down. I don't care how much I paid for a ticket. If I went into a movie, I knew I was going into an auditorium with other people who also paid for that movie because I have something that's called common decency for others. And I just wish that there were more people out there, parents these days, man. They need to have more understanding. Sarah over on D-Live says, I think Alita showed a lot of movies how action's done. I agree. And also, I think that for the CGI they use, it was very impressive. Captain Phonemo says, I'm going to buy Sonic simply because they respected the fans and their thoughts and didn't hate the fans. Right there, man. That's why I went to go see it. That's the only reason why I spent money on that movie, was because they respected the fans. And I wanted to give it some love. Captain Dean Heiss says, if Alita was overhyped, where were the award nominations? No. So here's the thing, Captain Dean Heiss. What the other person was saying, and I think that's what I'm saying too, is that it obviously was not overhyped by the elites. It was not overhyped. It was very underrated by critics, underrated by the Hollywood elitist. But when you look to the hardcore fan base, the Alita fan base, a lot of people, act like it is the greatest film of all time. And I enjoy the movie. It's a great movie. Is it one of the top 10 best movies of all time? No, it's not. But a lot of people act like it is. But I think the reason why, and to kind of defend them, I think the reason why a lot of people that are fans of the film act in that way is because of the attacks against the movie. It's because of the overly critical media that really just tried to undermine it in every single way, mostly because it was really, whether people agree with me or not on this, there really was this battle between Alita and Captain Marvel, right? One had a strong female character who was being pushed to the max. The other had a strong character in general, right? So you had one character that was perceived to be, well, actually I should correct that. One had a character that was supposed to be a strong female character, but by the way, did we mention she's a female character? Oh, by the way, she's a strong female character who's not a good character at all, Captain Marvel. While on the other hand, you had an actual strong character who happened to be a woman, who happened to be female, right? And that's, of course, Alita. Alita was the good character who happened to be female, but no one really cared about that because she was a strong character. And there were great characters and great actors throughout that entire film. So hopefully that makes more sense as to what I mean by that. I am not saying by any means that Alita is an overrated movie. I love the movie. I loved it. But hopefully that makes a little more sense. Let's see. Sarah says, a cool animation movie is Makia. Okay, I'd never heard of that before. Captain Heiss says, just misunderstood. Missed the part of the conversation, was listening from across the room. No problem at all, Captain Heiss. And I figured that there was a misunderstanding because I would never have said that. Because I think, if anything, it's underrated by critics and by Hollywood. Because the fact that Alita did not get nominated for visual effects is criminal. I mean, the visual effects on that movie were just freaking phenomenal. Sarah then says, I think Ghost in the Shell did the opposite. The action was watered down compared to the original. And I'm going to be honest, I actually did not like either version of Ghost in the Shell. But that's also because anime really isn't my genre typically. Anime tends not to be the genre that I'm most drawn to. I don't know why. Just, again, certain certain film genres are, people are drawn to certain film genres over. I'm just not a big fan of those anime genres in general when it comes to movies, at least from the films that I've watched, right? Because I've seen Ghost in the Shell, wasn't a big fan of it. I've seen Akira, wasn't a big fan of that one either, right? Don't hate it. I don't think it's trash. Just wasn't my cup of tea. Reed, thank you for another $30 donation via Streamlabs. Thank you so much for donating via Streamlabs, by the way. I really do appreciate that. Reed says, 10 gods cannot change the opinion of one fool, especially if another fool agrees with him. Abraham Miller. It is appreciated when you get an honest opinion from someone that respects your opinion, even if it's different. Thank you, Reed. Yes, I'm going to read that again. 10 gods cannot change the opinion of one fool, especially if another fool agrees with him. And there's so much truth to that statement. And you're right. There's so many people on this channel, so many parts and so many members of Asgard that have various opinions on various films. We don't always agree on everything. Me and Alex McCarthy, we're disagreeing all the time on films. But it comes out and comes down to a level of respect. Do we respect each other? Are we at least able to see common ground, right? Because I think that most of the time, if there's a disagreement, if we can at least agree on the fundamentals, right? Of, wait a minute, is there actual good writing? Is there actual good visual effects? Can we at least agree on the negative parts of a film, right? Those are the types of conversations that we can have to say, hey, I can still enjoy a film subjectively, but still understand that objectively there might be flaws with it, right? And that's what it comes down to. It comes down to saying, hey, we can agree to disagree, but let's also try and stay as honest as we can about the product in front of us and not be blinded by the lights, as it were, right? Not to be blinded by the lights. All right, jumping back, and thank you very much, Reed, for another very, very, very generous donation via Streamlabs. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. Let's see, Bruce. Okay, I got that one already. Let us see. Legit36 says, you already know media and blue check marks are still steaming with Joker didn't cause an incel uprising. You're right, man. I remember when Joker was coming out, that film got destroyed by critics, got destroyed by Hollywood. They hated it. They hated it because they were just like, no, we can't have this movie. This movie can't be successful. And sure enough, the audience has said, yeah, screw you. It's a great film. It's a great film. And it, even though it only won a few, it got 11 Oscar nominations. It's got, I think, the most Oscar nominations of any of the films this year. So you know what? Joker got the last laugh in the end of the day. Jeremy Swig says, I had the same during Frozen 2, except the parents also wouldn't shut up. What we need is Anna and Jeremy with us. That stuff doesn't fly with them. Oh, yeah. Because I'm not that person that would speak to someone. I already felt bad enough in the film, in the showing of Sonic, because there was someone sitting in my seat. Now we have a lot of these theaters, these giant theaters with reserved seating, and I had one seat in the middle. And then this group family of like 6 had like 6 seats, and one of them was in my seat, and I hated doing that, right? I'm that person where normally I would just go somewhere else, but because it was my reserved seat and I didn't know how crowded it was going to be, because it was going to be pretty crowded, I was like, yeah, this is my seat. And then I don't think they ever knew where they were supposed to be. But at one point, one of their kids, who was a teenager, yelled something at the screen, so I was like, oh, it's going to be one of those screens. It's going to be one of those days. But yeah, I don't like to talk to people. So yeah, I'm not that person that says, you're being too loud, or can you get off your phone? I hate confrontation. Let's see. Father says, not a spoiler since it was in the Sonic trailer, but how does the guy's truck still work after the EMP? I don't know, man. I don't know. It sounds more like a plot hole to me. Sounds more like a plot hole to me, my friend. Nathan Slay says, do you have any hope that Joker will beat Toy Story 4? Not really. And the reason why is because Joker really isn't playing in a lot of locations right now. It had a slight re-release, but I don't think it's going to get in enough screens and be seen by enough people, because most people that love the movie own it already. So I don't think that it will. There's always a chance that it could. I don't think that it will, though. I would say that it has a better chance of lasting out Rise of Skywalker, and it's already made more than Rise of Skywalker, but holding on to that number than passing Toy Story 4. But again, I'll keep a lookout on the numbers for that. Father says, Kansas City, Missouri is where the World War I Museum is at. Been there a few times. Still need to visit the World War II in NOLA. Okay, I did not know there was a World War I museum in Kansas City, so that's really cool. Yeah, the World War II Museum in New Orleans, by the way, is phenomenal. It is fantastic. Definitely do Beyond All Boundaries, which is a cool 4D experience. It's fantastic. The museum is wonderful. I love that museum. It really is great. I've been there several times, and I love it. So, man, wow. Yeah, if I'm ever there, I'm going to have to check out the World War I Museum. Zinewater says, World War I is a very strange war. It's a bridge between older styles of war and modern warfare. You have to understand World War I to understand World War II as well. World War II is almost a continuation. Yeah, you're right. If you know the history of it, there's definitely that connection that can be seen, because what was done to Germany is what led to, Hitler gaining power, gaining power and authority. So yeah, you're absolutely right about that. And I would love to see a film cover that. I would love to see a film cover that history. If anyone knows of any good World War I films that cover, all of those key events, let me know. I appreciate it. Let's see. Jeremy Swig says, if you wouldn't mind saying a prayer for me, I have an ethics paper to write, and I'm at a total loss. Definitely will, man. Good luck on that paper. Sasha Neon says, Catholic events are always so crowded. Everyone attends en masse. But I see what you did there, Slicer. Oh, you crazy little guy, you crazy. Alice McCarthy says, the wife works till 11, so I usually don't ever go to sleep until 3 a.m. That's right. I remember you telling me about that. Edgardo Martinez says, the motives for World War I deserve attention. You're right. And I wish that we could get more movies that would cover that. Orange Eye Review says, sorry I'm late. Would have been on time, but the blue devil was pestering me. Sorry to hear that, but glad that you are here. Pindrop says, the product placement in Sonic was cringe. Yeah, some people thought it was funny. I thought it was a bit cringe. Also, members in the chat right now. So Edgardo and Alex, are the GIFs working? Because I see the images, but are they moving? Please let me know. Because this is the first stream that I've done since memberships went live, and I want to make sure that all that stuff is working to the best of their ability. If it's not, then that is going to be one of my key projects to try and get those things going, because it's one of the things I'm most excited about is having the GIFs working. If not getting GIFs, then at the very least getting some stickers for you guys to have fun with. Hypernex13 says, I want to see a Saving Private Ryan or Schindler's List style World War II movie about Japan invading Southeast Asia, also the Pacific War. It's pretty overlooked. You're right. The Pacific Theater is, I would say, more overlooked than anything else. Usually they focus on the other side of the war instead. Yeah. That would be awesome. I would love to see a Saving Private Ryan version of, every war, right? World War I, all the different parts of World War I, and also I would say the Pacific Theater in World War II as well. That'd be really cool. And I think one could argue, because didn't Clint Eastwood do a little bit of that with, I haven't seen it yet, but Letters from Iwo Jima, where he focuses more so on the Japanese side of the war? I don't know. I haven't seen it yet, so I can't really speak to that. Rob D says, I thought it was funny when Tom asked Sonic why he has to take him to San Francisco, and Sonic basically replied with, because I don't know how to get to San Francisco. Jeremy Swiggs, yeah, the product placement was obvious, but I found it funny like I did with Wayne's World. Yeah, but I just guess, the way it came across, for me at least, right? For me, the way it came across wasn't very fond of it, so... All right, let's see. Jumping over on to D-Live, Sarah Cruz says, I like anime because it's hyper realism. And again, I think that it's definitely a genre that a lot of people enjoy. I like anime shows more so than anime movies, right? So I love things like Dragon Ball Z, which I know is kind of like I don't want to say a poor man's version of anime, but it's kind of like that gateway where most people tend to like that, and aren't into other anime genres. And Cowboy Bebop is another one. I guess you could say they're more mainstream animes. Those are the kind of stuff I like. And then I love things that Studio Ghibli does. But that's pretty much the extent of my anime desires and likes. The K-Man over on D-Live says, like Olive Garden, we're all family here. Okay, I'll see myself out. Yeah, the Olive Garden one just went a little too far for me. Just a little too far. Howl, what's going on? Lil Howl over on D-Lab. Thanks for the follow. Adam says, the gifts are not moving. Okay, I'll have to look into that then. I'll have to look into that later on. Very sorry for my members over on YouTube that they are not moving. I uploaded them as gifts. They should be moving, but I'll have to check that out later on. Let us see here. Greta, what's going on, Greta? Greta is in the chat. She says, hello, Odin and everyone. Welcome back, Greta. Glad to have you here. Bruce says, I own World War I, World War II, and Korea and Vietnam documentaries. I find them all so very interesting. Very, very nice. Zine Waters says, about the Babadook, I'm not a fan of horror, but the lead actress in that film is in an Australia television show I like. 1920s lady detective show. Fun 1920s stuff and flirty dialogue. Very cool. Yeah, I don't know the show you're talking about, but she's great in the Babadook. She is a fantastic actress in that film. Orange Eye Reviews says, Empires fall. Wait, one picks up phone. Hello, Zemo. I have a job for you. Another empire needs to fall. Sasha Neon says, is it Lent? All the fish sandwich commercials are back. It starts next week. So for those that aren't aware, Ash Wednesday is a week from tomorrow. A week from tomorrow. Nitrium, my member. What's going on, Nitrium? He says, hail Odin. Hail to you, good sir. Thank you very much for being a member of the channel. I appreciate it. And also, I think that what I'll plan to do while the memberships are relatively low is if you're a member, I'm just going to read your comment regardless. And you might not have to worry about tagging me in it. Obviously, still try and tag me because if I read it and I see you're not talking to me, I might still skip over it. But I'm gonna give y'all some special attention because you are my members and I appreciate it. Jeremy Swig says, "Do you plan on attending the Phantom Menace convention when the details get sorted out?" I'm gonna be honest, probably not. And the reason why is because it is a Comicsgate. It feels to me more so, and again, I could be totally off base on this. It feels more to me like a Comicsgate convention featuring the Phantom Menace. If we do official just Phantom Menace convention, absolutely, I would love to do that. Would love to do that. I'm not a part of Comicsgate. I have no desire to be a part of Comicsgate. I've seen way too many crazy people coming out of Comicsgate. A couple of them have stalked me on other channels, right? You've seen, if you've ever watched Friday Night Tights, Comicsgate people are the ones that cause me a lot of trouble in the chats, right, in the comments section, because they're obsessed with what they think is cancel culture, which really is not. You know, they are borderline harassing a lot of people. So, and that's not me saying anyone that's a part of Comicsgate either, right? But I am not associated with Comicsgate, don't really want to be associated with Comicsgate, mostly because I'm not a comics guy. Right? I have no reason to be associated with them because I'm not a comics guy. So I'm, the one that's being talked about that EVS announced, I probably won't. And I of the people that I know, I don't think a lot of us are either. I think a lot of people are going to be a part of it who are also Phantom Menace types. But yeah, I have no plans to. I have not been told about anything. I've not been invited to anything. But it sounds to me more like a Comicsgate convention featuring the Phantom Menace, and that's not really my scene. That's not really my scene. All right, let's see. Let us see. Chat jumped on me like it always does. Let us see here. Let us see here. Where are we in the chat? All right, no comments were skipped. Thank the Lord. Thank the Lord. No comments were skipped. All right. My members are talking to other people. Edgardo Martinez says, glad to be a member. A friend suggested that bad design Sonic was planned for marketing. Don't believe, but it would make the same point to producers. What do you think? Yeah, I've heard that going around, and that was bound to be, to be a point that they try to bring about is, it was all planned. Similar to how, you remember how there was the conspiracies going around that Joker's controversy was dredged up by the studio, and that's the reason why the film ended up doing so well? I don't think so. I think that there are enough people in Hollywood and in the media that were crazy enough to really believe the things that they were saying about Joker. I feel the same way about what happened with Sonic. I think they thought that was a good design. They thought that people would not care. They thought that people would just take it lying down like many fans tend to. I mean, think about a lot of franchises these days. A lot of people just take things lying down. Birds of Prey, nothing like the comics. Hey, no problem. We'll make the movie anyway. Star Wars. Doesn't feel like a Star Wars movie anymore. Hey, doesn't matter. Enough people are showing support for it. You have enough of that normie support. It's fine. Sonic has never really had the limelight to be able to enjoy gaining normie, non-hardcore fan support. So when the fans saw that, they said, no. I say nay. This is not this is not Sonic. And that's why they were able to get the things changed. The director was luckily a common sense guy who said, no, we're going to listen to the fans here. And they ended up making the changes. So I don't think it was a marketing ploy on their part. I think it was a smart decision. They listened to the fans, and that's the reason why it did well. Kyler Wingster said, Odin criticizes Sonic in his review. A few months earlier, Odin gets a Switch and buys Pokemon. Coincidence? Yeah, probably. You're right. Definitely a coincidence for sure. Over on DLive, Captain Dean Heiss says, so you'll be streaming on Fat Tuesday? Probably. I don't really celebrate Mardi Gras. I've never understood it, really. It's something that always has just been very overdone, overblown for me. I don't drink. I think that it's lost the meaning because there's actually a Catholic tradition called Shrove Tuesday. And the whole reason why Mardi Gras even exists is because, 40 days, you're about to go into 40 days of fasting. And so what you would originally do is you would get rid of all of your perishable items. So you would get rid of your eggs and your milk, and then you'd also have some flour around too. Okay, well, what do you make with eggs and milk and then you have some flour around? Cake. So you would feast on cake. You would feast on cake and all these other items, and you would have these giant feasts because you would say, this is all going bad in 40 days anyway, so let's get rid of it while we can because we're about to fast. And so that's what it was originally all about. So that's something that I'm still fully supportive of because I think that that's a good way to get yourself in the mindset of, hey, we're about to enter into a solemn season. So I still have plans to stream on Tuesday, but we'll see. As the K-Man says over on DLive, let them eat cake. Yes, indeed. And also, Ryan stole my fan fiction story. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for becoming a member over on YouTube. You're awesome. Ryan stole my fan fiction story. Thank you. I appreciate it. Welcome to the members club. Welcome to the green membership club. I appreciate you. All right, let us see here. Tina says, Midnight's Edge discussed that on their show last night, and they don't think it's true. That bad trailer was also shown at a convention and got bad feedback even then. Yeah, I don't think that it's true either. I just think it was them thinking they were smarter than what they actually were. Let's see. Out of Step with Reality says, they should make a beer called Bifrost. I would actually be interested to see if they have already made one called Bifrost, because that just seems like a common sense name. In fact, I kind of wonder, did they and have they made that possibly in Epcot? I wonder. I wouldn't know because I haven't been to Epcot. I have not been to Epcot in a very long time. But again, Laura Rice told my fan fiction story. Thank you for joining as a citizen of Asgard level. I appreciate that very much. Let's see. Captain Wingster says, also, I've finally been recruited by Asgard's army, and I request to still be called Captain. I paid off a lot of people to get this title and demand to be treated as such. Captain Wingster, man, you got it. You got it, bro. Dora the Hobbit says, what would Odin do? Do you airline chair recline without permission? Yes or no? I usually don't recline at all, to be honest, because I feel bad. But if I see there's a kid behind me, I'll recline. Like if I see that there's a lot of space behind me and that's not going to be a problem, then I'll recline. I always do the look. I always look and say, all right, I look clear. I'm going to look back as I'm going back just to make sure I'm not messing up anything. But to be honest, I usually don't. I can't remember the last time I actually reclined in an airplane seat, to be honest. So probably for that very reason, because of not wanting to cause any tension. Captain Phonemo over on DLive says, it's just another reason to drink heavily and party. Exactly, Captain Phonemo, and that's why I've just never understood it. I've never liked it. It's silly in my head. I think that there are so many better things to do. And also, obviously, when I look at Fast Tuesday, I look at it for the spiritual holiday that we're about to enter into. So actually, I love it because it means tomorrow is Ash. It means the next day, next Wednesday is Ash Wednesday. Because I've always loved the season of Lent because it's always a time where I can try and just get my head back on straight. To come back And, there's always time. We should always try and get ourselves back on track outside of it too. But I've always loved it because there's just something special to it. There's just something special to it, and I've always enjoyed it. Adam over on DLive says, I will recline when I go see Mr. Peabody. It's a 28 to 32 hour flight. Damn, Adam, yeah, I can understand why you would. Spartan Jeremy says, I prefer the Klingon way. In ancient times, we got rid of our gods, the media, because they were more trouble than they were worth. Spartan Jeremy, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Let's see. Hardwick says, Patty Jenkins recently stated why she cast Chris Pine as Steve Trevor by saying he's not beta at all. He's a super alpha who can absolutely wear his discomfort on his sleeve. I kind of like that. I like that, Patty Jenkins. Obviously I haven't seen that, so I can't quote it myself, but Patty Jenkins saying he's not a beta, but an alpha, that's fantastic. That's a fantastic quote. Oh, man. Alice McCarthy says, you should have pulled a Jericho on them in the theater for talking. I could have. You're right. I could have pulled a Jericho, but I'm just not that kind of person. Spartan Jeremy says, old cars can survive EMPs as their electrical systems in most cases are non-essential things like radios. Ah, yes, that's a very good point. That's a very good point, my friend. Nathan Slay says, what animated movies scared the crap out of you? Ooh, as a kid... Nightmare Before Christmas. And I'll tell you what, it was the scene with the monster underneath the stairs. Like, the monster under the stairs creeped me out. The creepiest part about Nightmare Before Christmas, though, I am the clown with the tearaway face. Like that. As soon as the face came off, I was like, as a kid, I was like, no! I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified. RB408, thank you very much for subscribing to that's the Welcome to Asgard channel. So thank you very much for subscribing. Appreciate you. But yeah, definitely that movie and that specific scene. Let's see. Venom Broly 93 says, I remember when I went to see Mulan in cinema, then 2 to 3 full groups of school, very young children appeared, and I knew the movie wouldn't be quiet. I almost slept during the first 10 minutes. Oh, no. You see, like, that kind of movie I usually can put up with. Like, I don't mind kids. Like, if I went to go see a film like the Lego Batman movie, I would expect that to have a lot of kids in it, but because I know there's going to be a lot of content in there that I can enjoy, normally I can get past that. That really comes back to why I'm being more critical of Sonic than a lot of people want me to, is because it did not have that same gripping factor, for me at least, right? Not for me. Rob D says, do you think Disney Blu-rays are overpriced? Almost every Disney Blu-ray at my local Best Buy is $25. Absolutely they are. Yes. Absolutely. They are completely overpriced, and they're very rarely on sale, and that's why you shouldn't even be buying from Disney nowadays anyway, right? You should be buying your Disney stuff used, so that way Disney doesn't get a dime from you. I mean, that's my thought process on it, right? Because there are a lot of really great classic films that I would love to own on Blu-ray that are unfortunately owned by current modern Disney. But yeah, they're totally overpriced, and they're very rarely on sale. Sasha Neon says, you hear a part of Oregon wants to defect to Idaho because Portland is full of crazy lefties. I haven't heard that, but I believe it because Portland is insane. And you know what? Good. I hope they do. Give Idaho some more electoral votes is what I say. Alex McCarthy says, you're welcome for the World War II Museum in Nolens. My mom helped the government side of things there. Really, Alex McCarthy? Nice, dude. That's awesome. I appreciate you. Thank you to Mama McCarthy. Out of Step with Reality and Nitrium are posting all of the gifts, and none of them are moving. I'm sorry. I'll try it. They're dead, Jim says Out of Step. They're dead, Jim. Damn it. I'm not a doctor. I'll have to fix those, or at least do the very best that I can to fix those. I wish that it was more like DLive. DLive, they got the full, like it's a fuller image GIF. It's already bad enough that YouTube's got to make it's got to be a 1x1 image. And I'm like, really, YouTube? But don't worry, guys. I'll take care of y'all. And if we can't get that going, my members, stay active on the community tab because I can post messages just for members to see. So I'll try and if I can't get the gifts to start working, I'll get y'all's feedback about what kind of stickers y'all want, what kind of emojis y'all want, and I'll try and work that out because I want you guys to have all the fun. I want you guys to be able to have access to all that kind of stuff. So we will get all that stuff working out. Hardwick says Paramount's distribution chief Chris Aronson addressed Sonic by saying, if you don't listen to your customer, and this goes for any business, then you're going to fail. And it's very true. It's very true. When you fail to listen to your customers, they are going to reject you. And it's sad. It's really sad that there are companies out there that are so full of themselves, are so pompous, and they think they can do it on their own. They think, oh, we can just slap this name on the title and everyone's going to go see it no matter what. Sonic, I think, showed a lot of people that's not the case. Just like Joker, right? People wrote off Joker very quickly, and Joker showed, hey, if you make a good movie, it doesn't matter if it's rated R or not, it's going to make money. If it's a good movie, people will go to see it. If you build it, they will come, as the old saying goes. As my D-Live community is just spamming all of the gifts over there because they're like, yep, we know we got everything. We know we got the cool gifts over there. And that's something that I hope I can somehow get to work over on YouTube at some point. Nitrium says, no, the GIFs don't move, but they do show a static image. All right, gotcha. I'll have to fix that, Nitrium. Alice McCarthy says, I don't know, the GIF is too small on my phone to tell if it's moving. Yeah, again, that's YouTube. They make it be a 1x1 image, which is just stupid. Like, why even have an image as an option if it's going to be that small? 70B, thanks for letting me know. Hardwick says, speaking of the Pacific Theater, have you received the Blu-ray of Midway yet? No. I think I made a request. Maybe I did make a request and has not come in yet if I did. Soul Assassin says, check out the Pacific and Band of Brothers, both great series. I have them. I have both, and I've yet to watch them yet because I've been lazy. I've been so damn lazy. Let's see. Captain Wingster says, Odin, I'd also recommend Full Metal Alchemist for getting into anime. Tina then says, Olive Garden, love those unlimited breadsticks and salads. And yes, we're finally here at Odin's Movie Blog too. I haven't been to Olive Garden in years. I do like Olive Garden's unlimited breadsticks. Their breadsticks are just so good. They're just so delicious. So I do like Olive Garden. I just wasn't a big fan of the product placement in the movie. It was a little too much for me. Zinewater says, in regards to World War II Eastern Theater, my great uncle was captured for almost the whole war, tortured to the point of losing feeling in his legs, never held a grudge against the Japanese. Damn. See, that's a hero right there. That's someone who not only was mistreated, but was able to find it in his heart to forgive, right? And I think that that's an amazing quality to have. So shout out to your great uncle, because that's an amazing, not everyone can do that. Captain K-Man, or rather simply the K-Man, thank you for the ice cream over on D-Live. Sergeant Neon says, well, one good thing about the collapsing of the industry is no more annoying people in the row. So yeah, that is also true. Less people overall. Hyman then says, it certainly was focused on the Japanese losing on its side from the bombing, but I can't recall on the movie where the Japanese were portrayed like the Nazis massacring others. Yeah, I can't either. Alice Weather then says, I heard there was a Fast and Furious reference in Sonic. You know me in that glorious Fast saga. Oh, yes, I do. And yes, I believe there was. Bruce then says, shout out to the other anime fans in the chat. I have several shelves full of anime myself. Bruce, the anime master. Jeremy Swiggs, I enjoyed the World War II movie Unbroken. Unbroken was okay. It was fine. Wasn't a huge crazy fan, but it was fun. It was fun. As Ryan Stole My Fanfiction Story is waving in the chat. Let's see. Venom Burley says, in anime, you should try and give Cobra Space Adventure the original series from the 80s, 32 episodes, not the recent series, just after you finish to watch Sarah Connor Chronicles. Yes, again, so many things that I still need to watch. Summertime is my I've gotten to the point now where summer is my plan to finally watch all this stuff. Edgardo Martinez says, anime in World War II, Grave of the Fireflies. Yes, I have it, and that's a movie that I've always been trying to find the right day to watch it because I hear it is just so sad, and I've just not been in the mood yet to be able to sit down with that film yet. But I own it. I own it because I've heard that it is an excellent film despite it being sad. All right. Chat jumped on me once again. Looks like no comments were skipped. Always love that. Always makes me happy to see that. Let's see. Father Christopher Miller says, Fat Tuesday Mardi Gras stream next week. It'll be a Shrove Tuesday stream next week. because that's just the kind of person that I am. Father then says, also, if you have beads, you need to go to confession. Nope. The only beads that I have are my rosary beads, Father. Don't you worry. Jeremy Swig says, it started as Comicsgate, but I think EVS wants to get Jeremy more involved and make it equally Fandom Menace. And yes, I know of whom you speak. He shall not be named. Yes, he shall not. And that might be true. That's just not what I'm getting on that's not what I'm hearing from others. So, and as we know with Comicsgate, they are a very, very passionate group. And I think that no matter how hard they try, they're going to be the ones to take it over. And not really my thing. Sizer then says, you heard of Netflix Lock and Key, been recommended, but I haven't found it engaging thus far. Heard of it, haven't actually watched it yet. Hyper then says, let's not forget that Up was nominated for Best Picture besides the animated category, and yet Spirited Away and Mononoke were snubbed. Academy is a joke. Even though I will say this much, Up was a great film. I thoroughly enjoyed Up. I loved Up, but you're right. I would say that Studio Ghibli films have been snubbed a hell of a lot at the Academy, and there's so many other examples as to why the Academy is a joke. And that's why we have the Raven Awards, and this year's was a lot of fun. Out of Step with Reality says, as of now, I would say my most anticipated movie of the year is Top Gun Maverick. How about you? It's a great choice. And to be honest, that's probably where I am too. Top Gun 2 looks great. The cinematography, I'm going to see that movie for the cinematography because I want to see the filming that happens in those jets. It just looks beautiful. From the trailers alone, it just looks so gorgeous. And I want to see that on a big screen. They're shooting it with IMAX cameras, and so I want to go see that in IMAX opening night and just experience what it's like to be in a freaking jet plane, man. That's what I want, and that's what I think that I'll get. I also am interested in Dune because I love Denis Villeneuve. I love the work that he's done, and I hear a lot of people on this channel love the original Dune, or at least love the story of Dune. So those would be the ones that I am probably the most excited for. Ryan stole my fanfiction story, says, poor Caitlin Bennett, it's good she wasn't hurt today at Ohio State. Oh my gosh, yeah, it was crazy. And there's people that are defending it. Right? There's people saying, oh, well, she was asking for it. No. No one ever deserves to be mobbed like that. To be spat at, to have things thrown at you, to need to have like a 6'5" bodyguard picking you up to protect you. No one deserves that, right? And it's very clear from the beginning of the video that she was there to ask President's Day questions. And did she maybe know that her presence would cause some controversy? Sure, right? Because everywhere she goes, she causes controversy. I mean, that's like saying if President Trump just showed up anywhere, oh, well, he knew what he was getting into. Well, no matter where he goes. So it's like, that's not even a fair point anymore. It's not even a fair point. If you can't even walk onto I'm assuming it's a public university, which is why she was able to be there in the first place. But yeah, I'm glad that she wasn't hurt either. And it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, especially that the cops wouldn't do anything. That's, of course, a whole other topic for a whole other day. Let's see. Hardwick says, the 1920 set mystery series that has the Babadook actress in it is Miss Fisher's Murder Mysteries. I skipped it after I found out the first episode is about back alley procedures. Ooh, yeah, you know me and that. I would skip that as well. Zine Water says, I say nay, nay. John Panette. Exactly. Thank you for catching that reference, Zine. If you've never seen John Panette stand up, it's so freaking good. He talks about the buffet. I go to the buffet. And he does the greatest voices. And one of my favorite, his show was called, I think it's called I Say Nay Nay, or Nay Nay Nanette, or it was something to that effect. And every 5 seconds he just says, I say nay nay. And it's fantastic. John Panette, I'm so sad that he passed before his time. Jeremy Swig says, if they do it and change your mind, my wife and I wouldn't mind doing some other stuff in Orlando with you. Again, I might, if anything, I would, if it's in that area, since I'm not too far away, I would show up to be in the area to hang out with people. I probably wouldn't go to the actual convention itself. But again, we don't really have a whole lot of details about it. The big thing with it too is Ethan just sprung it up. He just tweeted about it, didn't tell any of us about it. Even higher, people bigger than I. He just said it. He said, oh, we're doing it. And so for me, I'm like, I feel like this is something that should have been planned, that should have been, multiple factors, multiple people, hands involved kind of thing. So I don't know. It's just not quite sitting right with me so far. That's just me, though. That's just me. That's just a humble man's opinion. Let's see. Hyperman X13. It is really interesting to think that World War I was the war that made Hitler who he was. Do you think if Germany had won, it would have been different? Would Hitler have been as worse as he was? I think that would actually make a good fictional war film. What if World War I had ended differently? What would have happened? And that's hard to say. I'm not an expert on the subject. I'm not an expert on Adolf himself. But I imagine that if he was as motivated and if his mindset had been pretty much laid in him from a very young age, that it very well could have still led to him being the same person that he was. But then again, a lot of his motivations were stemming from the effects of World War I too. So yeah, it's hard to say. It would be interesting to see a series or, a series more so than a movie, delving into that kind of what if scenario. That's why I really want to dive into a show like, The Man in the High Council. The Man in the High Castle, not the High Council. The Man in the High Castle. Because it is alternate history. And there's always been something fascinating to me about alternate history. It's one of the reasons why I actually was a huge fan of Fringe. Yeah, I know J.J. Abrams did not end the series very well, but one of the cool things they ended up doing in that show was they ended up going into an alternate universe where certain events didn't happen. Like, one of the key elements was there was a world in which 9/11 didn't happen. And I was always just found those kinds of stories interesting, because to think about what if is always a fascinating topic, at least for me. So yeah, I don't really know how it would be different though. I imagine that it would have to be though. Slash Neon says, Clone Wars Season 7 is this Friday. I want a Season 8, but they have a bad track record. And I think based on all the reports, this is the last one, right? This has been sold as being the last season of Clone Wars. And so I doubt that they will, as much as they probably should keep it going, I doubt that they will. Hardwick says, the Elysian Brewing Company makes a beer called Bifrost. Well, there you go. For the person that asked that question earlier, there you go. Jumping over to D-Live, catching up with the people over there. Let's see. Adam says, don't worry, I have your back if you do end up going. Well, thank you, Adam. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Captain Phonemo says, great news. Our townhouse will be finished being built by the middle of next month. A real kitchen and backyard. I can't wait. Phonemo, that's awesome, dude. I'm sure I've mentioned it before. I don't know if you were here for it, but we're in the process of getting our house. Our house was already mostly built, but we got to actually choose like countertops and things like that. So ours is set to be done sometime in April, and it's coming with a man cave, which I'm very excited about. No windows, so no need to put curtains up. Complete darkness, like a cave, which is something that I've always just appreciated. So I'm very excited. So hopefully in April, the studio will be moved and we'll be in an actual legit studio, not just an extra room in the house, but an actual, built as a studio. So I'm very excited for that. And then he also continues on saying, seeing Top Gun without Tony Scott directing feels wrong. Yeah, and I totally understand where you're coming from with that, but I do feel that they're paying respect to the source material to a great degree. And so that to me is what is me willing to give it a chance, as well as the awesome trailer. Out of Start with Reality says, Elysian Bifrost Winter Ale is what I found. There you go. Zionwater says, as far as Sonic is concerned, they have already made merch with the old design. Why do that if they had this planned beforehand? Zion, I think that's probably the strongest evidence that's been promoted thus far in the stream. And I think that you're onto it. I think that if you were not planning to run with it, why would you do that? Why would you go do that in the first place? Why would you make that merchandise in the first place if that was not the design that you would go with? Tech Guy, you're a cool guy. Greta says, a lot of people ask me why I don't go to parades anymore, and I said I don't like being in the cold with beads being thrown at my face. It's so true, though, right? Like, you're going there, and as a kid, Mardi Gras sounds like fun, right? You're there's crowds, there's free things being thrown at you like beads you get to wear, there's toys, and sometimes there's like the big things that get thrown at you. And then as an adult, unless you're drunk, there's no reason to be there. And then when people say, well, what's the point? What? That you need to get alcohol in your system to have fun? That says more about you than it does about anything else. But yeah, I'm right there with you. I grew out of it. It's something that it's good for kids, maybe. But even now, it's like, I look back and I'm like, if I had grown up and raised my kids there, I don't think I would bring my kids to Mardi Gras because of all the stupid drunk people around. It comes to the point where it's obnoxious. Harwick says, did you find that detailed synopsis of The Hunt that I DM'd you? I saw it. I've not read through all of it. As I said, I didn't know if I was going to have time to read through it all, and I have not. Let's see. Captain Phonemo says, your man cave is a murder room. Just admit it. Well, there is going to be a room right next to it that is definitely going to be a murder room. See, mine's going to get furnished, not furnished. Mine's going to have, drywall, air conditioning, things like that. But there's a room right next to it that's just going to be separated by a door. That's not going to have any of that. So it's going to be open beams. That is definitely going to be the death room, for sure. Father Christopher Miller says, combining EMPs and scariest movie. Look up the nuclear attack scene from the 1983's The Day After. I wasn't allowed to watch it when it aired. I'd probably still be in therapy if I had. Never heard of that. Harwick then says, Patty Jenkins also says, so from day one, I was always saying that it should almost be like Wonder Woman meets Indiana Jones, where Indiana would never be emasculated. And that's awesome. And I think that's the reason why I can respect Patty Jenkins, because she understands that it's about respecting the source material and it's not about simply trying to push agendas, right? Also, I saw that Reed gave another... Seriously, Reed, thank you so much. Once again, Reed with another $15 donation via Streamlabs. Thank you so much. Seriously, you're dropping the bombs tonight. Reed says, it was more the Treaty of Versailles that laid the foundation for World War II. They had wanted to prevent Germany from ever being a threat by crippling it financially. It resulted in people looking for anyone that could help them to survive the severe situation. And as I said before, that's the reason why I think that without Germany losing that war and having to sign the Treaty of Versailles, I think that Hitler would not have risen to power, as you pointed out, because they were looking for anyone, and it's because they were crippled, right? It's because that treaty crippled them to the point that they became desperate. And yeah, I think that you're spot on there in your analysis. And yeah, it's bringing me back to the days in which I was learning that in high school. And yeah, I've always wanted to go back to relearn that stuff. And obviously I still have general memory of it. But if I was not teaching religion, I'd be teaching history, because I'm fascinated by this stuff. Just fun stuff. It's just fun stuff. And then he also, over on DLive, Captain Phonemo says, make sure it is soundproofed. Yeah, we'll do the best that we can to try and soundproof it. But based on where it is, there's not going to be a whole lot of sound to need to block out in the first place. And I'll explain it once we actually have it all set up. I'll be able to, record the room and show what it is. Nathan Slay, Mulan 2020 is so dead. The coronavirus is not backing down. Yeah, seriously. The fact that film's coming out very soon and it's not going to have a big release in China because of all that stuff. That was their big pitch too. Mulan was all about getting the Chinese audience to go gaga over it. And that's not going to happen at this point. And it's not really it's not tracking well at all here in the States, by the way. I want to say the last tracking I saw had it making $40 to $60 million opening weekend domestically, which for a Disney film, that's anemic. All right, and that's the last time that I checked, so it could have gone up since then. Zinewater says, about East Oregon wanting to defect to Idaho. I'm in Idaho. I'm not surprised. Eastern Washington is the same. The western portion controls the rural east. Provable corruption is ignored. Exactly right. And it's one of the many reasons why I like our republic system. I like our electoral system because it allows for every single person, regardless of where you are, to have a voice and not simply to be controlled by the major cities in the country. Alex McCarthy says, Leo gets sticker. Okay. Yes, absolutely, man. And that's why I had a GIF with Leo Getz, man. And it's just not working right now. So we'll get that. We'll get that sorted out. Spartan Jeremy says, even Jim Carrey was reasonable about Sonic. When it came to listening to the fans, the worst he could say was, I'm not sure it's a good idea, but we'll see if it works. And guess what? It worked. And I bet his pocketbook is very, very happy because I'm sure he's getting a pretty decent size paycheck. So I'm sure he's getting a very decent sized paycheck. Hardwick says, while he was voiced by Nick Nolte, Quill in The Mandalorian was played in a costume by Misty Rosas. She also played Amy the gorilla in Congo, Barry Barrington in Country Bears. What? Congo, that brings me back. Slash of Neons, they say guys don't have biological clocks, but after seeing a pic of my nephew playing with the stuffed Christmas dinosaur I got him, I disagree. Adorable Saurus. Bruce says, Band of Brothers is a must-watch. Watch it. Okay, I have it. I have that. I have the Pacific too. Jeremy Swiggs, Odes Movie Blog, because when you're here, you're family. You're right. And I allegedly have a movie blog. Can't prove it. You can't prove it. All right, where are we in the chat right now? We're getting close to time. But we still got a little bit of time. Oh man, we got a ton of comments. We got 85 people in here, 85 strong. Smash that like button, please. Simple request from Simple Man, as a good friend of mine always says. Let us see here. Nitrium says, Grave of the Fireflies is definitely a depression watch. Yeah, that's what I've heard, man. So it's one that I'm holding off on. I want to be in the mood to get saddened by that. Hardwick says, Vic Mignogna's voice work as Edward Elric in the English dubbed version of Full Metal Alchemist is legendary. Very cool. Thrash Metal Fiend, thank you very much for subscribing. Appreciate you, bro. Slice of Neons, Netflix has that great anime movie, A Silent Voice, where a boy tries to apologize to a deaf girl he bullied years ago. Watched it multiple times. Great stuff. That sounds like it would make me cry. Just going to be honest about that. Camvo Nemo, when is the next Twitch stream? Whenever I have time to game. Probably Saturday morning, maybe. I think my parent... So, a little bit of a question mark as far as the upcoming stream schedule. So, this Sunday will be the Chosen of Valhalla stream. Because I've already sent that out, I'm going to keep that where it is, regardless of anything else. But my parents are coming to visit this weekend. So because of that, the Saturday night stream and Friday Night Tights are now in a question mark territory. But we should be okay on both. If any of that changes, though, it might be a late start, or I'll let y'all know, right? So I'll keep y'all posted on YouTube, on the community tab on YouTube. I'll keep y'all posted also on Twitter as well on the social media network, all right? And also I'll try and keep you posted on the Discord too. So just a heads up that question marks next to those, because I just found that out, it was a last minute decision that was just made today. So that is a question mark. All right, Slash of Neons. Got you already. Nitrium says Tenet. Yes, Tenet looks very good. Tenet definitely looks very good. Always like me some Christopher Nolan movies. Bruce says, no anime master here. I'm a dub-only guy. If I said that in anime form, the attacks would be swift and many. Oh, Bruce, you're going to get attacked for that. That's for damn sure. Rob D says, how many movies would you say you own between all formats, 4K, Blu-ray, DVD, VHS? Well, I have a giant shelf right here that's filled with Blu-rays and DVDs and 4Ks, and most of them have come from MVD Visual, which has provided a lot of films for the channel, which I still need to watch a lot of. But if you're counting those with the stacks I have outside of my room that are still in boxes, because obviously I'm not going to unpack it just to repack it in a couple months, I probably have 500-ish. Once I get set up in the new place, I plan on cataloging them all, and I'll give an official estimate on that. But I want to say around 500 or so. I want to say about 500 or so. All right, let's see. 70B, Denis Villeneuve. I love the way you spelled that. Nathan Slay says, I have a friend that thinks 1917 sucks because it has no plot. I don't understand his opinion at all. What do you mean it has no plot? It's two guys that are trying to get a message to a group of soldiers to save them from a surprise attack. It's the plot within the first 10 minutes of the movie. They just weren't paying attention. And it's either they weren't paying attention or they don't know what the plot is. They don't understand what the concept plot means. What do you mean it had no plot? Dear Lord. Oh gosh, that's so crazy. It has no plot. I mean, seriously, there are better things that you could talk about for criticism. I mean, you could say, oh, it's got very little character development. Okay, I'll give you that. You're right. But it has more character development than what's it called by Nolan. Oh my goodness, it's the one that I'm always giving Jeremy crap for. It's not a crappy movie by any means. It's just not one of my favorites. I'm sure everyone in the chat's gonna be like, it's this movie. I'm 20 minutes behind. So don't even bother posting in the chat because I'm not gonna see it. Don't post it in the chat. I'm not gonna see it. DLive, if you post it in the chat there, I'll see it more quickly because there's no, it's so much slower over on DLive that it's a lot easier to find. And speaking of which, Adam over there says, family first, we understand, brother. Thank you, Adam. Appreciate it, man. And then Captain Nemo says, only 500, hand in the movie fan card. Yes, indeed. Always calling me out for that. Let's see here. Hardwick says, do you ever watch YouTube videos sped up to finish them quicker? Always. Every video I watch is at 1.5 at the least. I sometimes go 1.75 and I sometimes go 2. And thank you, DLive community. Dunkirk. That's the movie that I was thinking of. Thank you very much, K-Man, and thank you, Adam, for that. Dunkirk. So I'm sure I got 1,000 Dunkirks in the YouTube chat, and it's like, guys, I'm like 20 minutes behind in the YouTube chat, right? It's 8:24 right now where I am, but it's 8:07 in the chat. That's how far behind I am in the chat. That's how I always get far behind in the YouTube chat. But thank you very much for that, DLive fam. Dunkirk. Yeah, so Dunkirk, that film definitely did not have as great as character development. I would argue that 1917 has leaps and bounds more character development than Dunkirk did. That's just my thought. But yes, YouTube videos, always watch them on at least 1.5 speed. Soul Assassin, that girl on Twitter encouraging more attacks is a real piece of work. Yeah, seriously, and that's just disgusting. The fact that anyone is going to promote violence, that is what's not protected, by the way, under free speech laws. If you are trying to promote violence, that speech is not protected. You can be, I hate this person. You can say terrible things about them. But if you're saying we attack the person, or if you're going to try and promote violence, that's the kind of stuff that can get you arrested and fined because you cannot promote violence. And that's the only kind of speech that should be restricted because obviously we should protect people from that kind of crap. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. All right, let's see. Well, always. Zenwater says, sorry I'd missed the first episode of Miss Fisher's Mysteries. She's definitely progressive and has moments I don't like, but that's unfortunately a lot of shows, especially overseas. Yeah, and just with that knowledge of the first episode, I can say I just no desire to see it then. Father Christopher Miller says, Chinese voice, free Riri. Yeah, so some people are going to say, you can't do that now. It's 2020. That's offensive. It's from the John Panette special. And it's him doing the impression of going to the Chinese buffet and they making fun of him for being so big. Because they're calling him Free Riri because he's so big. Oh, John Panette's great. Greta Designer says, there's a YouTube video that theorizes what would have happened if Germany won World War I, and it turns out the world would have been in a better place. What? Damn. Yeah, that's why I love the what ifs, because they could be just fantastic. Father Christopher Miller says, Robert Harris's book, Fatherland, What If Hitler Won World War II? Interesting. Yeah, I was talking more World War I, but that also, get alternate history, always sounds interesting. Father also says it was made into a movie as well. Nitrium says, the Man in the High Castle started so strong, but it kind of lost its way as it went on. The last season, the worst in my opinion. That's sad. I'm only about a couple episodes in, because it's a show. It's like, I like to, sip on it a little bit, take my time, enjoy it like a fine wine, even though I don't drink. Enjoy it like something that I don't experience on a regular basis. But I'm sad to hear that it goes downhill. Hyben then says, hey, Kevin Feige, you want to know a cool idea for a what if? If Germany and the other empires won World War I, I'm sure that's a better what if than any of the other MCU ideas. Dear Lord. Yeah, that's right. I forgot they're doing the what if series on the Disney Plus network. Tech Guy says, Odin gets Dark Cave to send out his message of love and movies. Yeah, that's what I should start doing is once I get the cave, just make everything like dark like a cave. And change the whole dynamic of the channel, becomes so much darker. Greta says, I wouldn't like parades even if I was drunk. I'm sure you're not the only one that feels that way. Hyben says, interesting to know that the Italians were better combat-wise in World War I than in II, and were an ally also. The Ottomans massacring the Americans is something I never knew about. So much history. I know. Again, history is fascinating. Rob D, they're really keeping Season 7 Clone Wars episodes a secret. We don't even know the titles of all 12 episodes, only 1 through 4. And again, who's running Clone Wars? Dave Filoni. Who ran The Mandalorian? Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni. Notice that Kathleen Kennedy was not really heavily involved with either project. I think that makes the major difference. That's what I think. All right, let's see. Alex McCarthy says, I used to be a stupid drunk people, but then in 2010 I said, hi, I'm Alex and I'm an alcoholic. Hey, sometimes that's what we need to do though, right? You're not the only one. That's why I love people like Gary over at Nerdrotic, because he's just so real. And he says, hey, this is what happened. This is what I am, and I'm recovering. And you're always going to be in that state of recovery, right? We all struggle with different addictions in many different forms, and I think that being honest with ourselves is the way that we step forward. So thank you for sharing that, Alex. And yeah, it's a better place to be, I would say. Being sober is an amazing place to be. Also, new member, Harry Plopper. That's a great name. Harry Plopper, thank you very much for joining, becoming a member as a citizen of Asgard on the YouTube channel. Thank you very much, Harry Plopper. Oh, that's a great name, man. Thank you so much for becoming a member, man. I appreciate it. Oh, man. I love it. I love it. Let's see here. Hardwick says, did you ever save the link to my The Hunt synopsis? It's still in the messages tab. It's still in the message over on Twitter. But for me to say that I'm going to read it anytime soon, I cannot promise that at this point. Let us see. Let us see here. Where are we in the chat? Edgardo Martinez says, Congo, terrible movie, loved it. Hermaker Homolka from Romania. I actually liked Congo. Speaking of films that freaked me out as a kid, Congo. Because there's one scene where this dude runs out screaming, and then one of the apes throws his brain at him. That scared the hell out of me as a kid. But looking back at it as an adult, I'm like, I think I would actually love this movie and would laugh my ass off at all of those moments. Let's see. Jumping over to D-Live. Captain Dean High says, movie fan, doesn't he have a movie blog? Captain Phonemo says, I really didn't think Dunkirk was about the characters, but more about the human will to help others. I'm sure that makes no sense. No, you're right. It does make sense. And that's not my point. I wasn't going after Dunkirk. What I was saying was that the only thing I could think of as far as a criticism for 1917 would be the character development. But I think that it had a much better character development than that movie. And I would be interested to see if the person that went after 1917 and thought it sucked, if he thought Dunkirk sucked, because I think that he kind of loses his argument if that's the case, if that makes any sense. Kathleen High says, have you heard the rumor of Kathleen Kennedy's early retirement? Yes, but as always, I'll believe it when I see it. Captain Phonemo, you and I like the movie Congo. Holy crap. We agree on a movie. Who would have thought? Oh, man. Let's see. Hybrid says, that's what's unfortunate. Even when the Treaty of Versailles was initiated, Ferdinand Foch, the French general, quoted, this is not peace. It is an armistice for 20 years. And how right he was. Jeremy Swick says, welcome to Odin's movie blog, where the chat is always behind and the stream is punctual. Damn right. You're damn right about that. Sasha Neon says, better streaming, better videos, Papa Odin's. All fathers in the house. That's what I should get that on a shirt. Stephanie B, Saturday late stream. Yikes. And again, I'll let you know, I would rather take a hiatus from that stream for the night than do a late stream for y'all's sake too. Not only for y'all's sake, but for my sake too. Tina then says, I regrettably won't be at the Chosen stream on Sunday because of the birthday cruise. Yes, but Tina, going on the birthday cruise. Yeah, girl. She's very excited for that cruise, and she's getting... Tina, by the way, everybody, got some major upgrades. Because even though, and again, all seriousness, thoughts and prayers out to anyone that's affected by the coronavirus, because people dying, it's never a good situation. However, There's always brightness that can sometimes be found in the darkness, but because of that, Tina actually got a upgrade package for free on her cruise. So shout out to Tina for getting that upgrade package, because you're gonna have a good time, and Tina deserves to have all the damn fun that she could possibly have. So anything that's gonna help out Tina, I'm going to praise. Hardwick says, Neil McDonough, who was in Band of Brothers and played Dum Dung Dungan in Captain America, is a devout Catholic and refuses to kiss anyone but his wife, which limits the roles he gets. I know Neil McDonough. I like him a lot. He was also in a movie called Timeline, actually, which is another film that is not as good as the book, Michael Crichton book, but I like that movie, and he's in it, I believe. Same actor. Tina, yeah, you mean Dunkirk. Yes, I'm posting in the chat because I'm like that. You would be like that. Everyone's saying Dunkirk, and it's driving me crazy. It's driving me crazy. All right, Orange Eye Reviews, thank you very much for the $5 super chat. Says, that was his heart that was thrown at him in Congo. Love that movie. Many people all forget Bruce Campbell was in it. That's right, Bruce Campbell was in it. Thank you. As I said, I have not watched that film since I was like 10. Like, it's been almost 20 years since I've seen that movie. So I thought it was his brain, but hey, guess what? That makes it even better. That makes it even better. Oh, that's fantastic. Let's see. Hybrid X13, quoting 12 Angry Men, I'm just saying 1917 doesn't have plot. Well, what do you mean it has no plot? The characters have a goal. Oh, that juror. Sicer Neons, there once was a movie about an old couple trying to find a burial spot in a crowded graveyard. There was no plot. Christopher Mills. Christopher Mills, do you think the Sonic fandom and the Fandom Menace will give Sonic the Alita treatment? In what way? It's going to make money, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. It doesn't need that treatment because it's going to make its money. Spartan Jeremy, the best thing about 1.5 speed, if your movie seems well paced at that speed, you know there's something really wrong with the movie. I don't watch movies on that speed. No, I want to experience the movies as they were meant to be experienced. So if it's boring, I know it's boring, and if it's well paced, I know it's well paced. But YouTube videos, I'll watch those on it. Once again, shout out to Harry Plopper for becoming a member on the channel. Hara Bentho, the first episode of What If is going to have Peggy Carter getting the serum instead of Steve and becoming Captain Britain. However, Stinky Steve will become Iron Man in the same episode. And to be honest, I'm okay with that. I'm actually okay with that. I like Peggy Carter. And I like the actress that plays her. Zinewater says the Italians struggled against the Ethiopians in the lead up to World War II. The Italians had tanks. The Ethiopians didn't. Damn, son. That's crazy. That's so very crazy. All right, we're an hour and 38 minutes, so we're going to start to wrap things up. Let me try and get through Spitfire as many as I can get through. HyperNex13 says, there's a book by Philip K. Dick called The Man in the High Castle, where the Axis powers won World War II. The adaptation is on Amazon Prime, but it isn't as good as the book. Hyper, we've already talked about that, man. We've already talked about that. What do you talk? Says Neons, no leaks about Mandalorian or Clone Wars because no one needs to warn the fans. Stay away. It's a fair point. Hyper and Odin, you misread the part. I meant Ottomans massacring Armenians, not Americans. No, you said Americans. You misspelled, Hypern. Sorry that comment was long. I'm a long man, bad descendant of Mahler. You said Americans. I even reread it too because I was like, Americans? Don't you mean Armenians? But hey, I took your word for it. As people put Dunkirk. Ryan. Oh, Laura putting the Dunkirk. Oh, Laura. Bruce says, you were not alone, Congo. I enjoyed it as well. Of course you did. Harry Plopper posting all the gifts. Sadly, none of them move. I'll try and get that fixed. Edgardo Martinez, actually the gorilla throws his heart. That was the dude from True Lies. Thank you for correcting me. Laura says, I don't see any way Germany could have won World War I once Russia joined the war. It's a fair point. Giant army there. Hypernex 13, I don't play a lot of shooter games, but doesn't Battlefield and Call of Duty have a World War I or World War II campaign? I don't know. I don't play a lot of games either, to be perfectly honest. This year production says, hello there. Yes, making that dramatic landing in here at the last minute as we're wrapping things up. Christopher Mills, will the fandom give Sonic the Elite treatment and see it over and over again? Some will. Jeremy's already seen it twice. I don't plan to see it again. Wasn't my cup of tea, but I respect anyone that enjoyed it. Let's see. Edgardo Martinez, Congo had an awful PC game. The memories, it did have a game. I never played it, but I remember the game. Rob D, I could honestly see you making really good pizza, and I could see Jeremy taking up moonshining with Ryan and Lethal Lighting, delivering the moonshine in the General Lee. Weird, I know. What? You could see me making pizza? Pizza of Asgard. That does sound pretty delicious. I would love to make my own pizza. That'd be great. That would be great. Yes, Haley Atwell. Thank you, J God J. Haley Atwell, great actress. CA Productions, Odin has time for Sonic, but not for Joker and IMAX. I saw Joker multiple times, I'll have you know. Hardwick says, you mispronounced Skinny Steve as Stinky Steve. That's how it was spelled. I pronounce it how it's spelled, Hardwick. I pronounce it how it's spelled. Hardwick says, have you watched Agent Carter? No, but I heard it was excellent. As as Alex and Out of Step with Reality post the gifts that are not gifts because YouTube is crazy bad. Anyway, you guys are awesome. A bunch of people joined the channel tonight, so thank you so very much for joining the channel. Out of Step with Reality, Harry Plopper joined the channel. Ryan Stole My Fanfiction Story joined the channel. The K-Man has been joined. Out of Step with Reality, Alex McCarthy, Nitrium, all members of it. Also, someone who, for some reason, did not pop up, but has been in the chat all night, Edgardo Martinez. So thank you all for being members, becoming members of the Asgardian community over on YouTube. I do plan to try and fix all the nonsense to get either the gifts working or to replace them at the very least with images that you want to have access to. Since y'all are my first primary members, I want to get y'all's feedback on that. So keep an eye out on the community tab over on YouTube. Again, the community tab over on YouTube. I'll post some members only stuff over there. That way we can figure out what the best thing going forward is. But anyway, you guys are all amazing people. Oh boy, I got some donations over on D-Live. I got to shout out first. So Captain Dean Heist, thank you for the 3 ice cream donations. Adam, thank you very much for the 20 lemon donations. Captain Mr. Roy, thank you for the 5 ice cream donations as well. Captain Mr. Roy, thank you for the 5 ice cream. I already shouted you out. I shouted you out twice. That's okay. You're awesome. The K-Man, thank you for the 10 lemon donations. Captain Phonemo just dropped a diamond donation over on D-Live. Thank you. You're breathtaking, K-Man, as everyone in this chat is breathtaking. Thank you guys for watching. Please, actually, I'm going to send you guys over, if you will, my boy, John Flickinger, the Flick Pick, who actually made this nifty little banner right here. He helped me out with that. He's going to help me make it look even better. He has just went live. He has a new weekly show. All I know is that's going to be on Tuesdays. He has not committed to a time yet, but I think he's going to try and get it close to being after my stream because we're going to be doing a lot of collaborations with our podcast for our $10 members. Obviously, also the podcast will go to $10 and up backers on Patreon Subscribestar as well. But yeah, go and check out the Flick Pick. It should be on his secondary channel, the John Flickinger. So John Flickinger, look it up on YouTube. Valks, if y'all can post a link to John Flickinger's channel, I appreciate that. You guys are awesome. Kentucky Boy, I've seen you in the chat all night, man. You haven't tagged me though, so I haven't been talking to you. Kentucky Boy over on D-Live. Adam then just dropped 10 more for you. Oh, Adam, thank you very much for dropping the 10 more. Anyway, guys, you are all awesome. Drunk 3PO is streaming right now too. I love Drunk 3PO. A lot of really cool people are streaming right now. But for tonight, I'm going to send people over to John Flickinger. And again, go to whoever makes you the happiest. But let John know that Odin sent you if you do go over there. And again, you have free will. So it's totally up to you. That is going to be it for me tonight. You guys are all amazing, beautiful people. Please, again, remember, parents coming in this weekend. So Friday Night Tights, I might be on. But obviously, question mark next to that. Saturday night stream. Question mark next to it. There will be a stream on Sunday because I've already told my chosen of Valhalla that there would be one. So 12 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday. My chosen will be joining and we will be having a lot of fun. So thank you very much. Adam posting the link over on D-Live for John Flickinger. So thank y'all very, very much. You guys are awesome, amazing, and beautiful people. Have a wonderful night. And as always, God bless. And now to give a shout out to my February Patreon and Subscribestar members, animation commentator Brian P., Dion, David Brobrizik, Please let me know if I need to repronounce that name. DivX, Elizabeth M, Enrique Evangelista, Father Christopher Miller, Frank the Tank and the Shawhan Weird Dog Clan, Harold Francis, The Hunky Chunky Funky Monkey, Inflamed Wood, It's a Trap Productions, Jason Clark, Jeffrey Toon, Jeffrey Lebowski, JJ Jonathan Jerembeck, Kenneth Cameo, Lady T, Mad Mitch Dunaway, Mr. Peabody and his evil twin with the beautiful hair, Orange Hat Reviews, Outpost Dyer, Perpetual Punster, Riff Magos, Rosetta Allen, Steve Glasker, Teresa Martin, Theodore Bendon, The DJD Show, and Tina B. And over on Subscribestar, Robert Revo, Larry, Mr. Roy, Glinzer, G2 Cool 99, Darkstar 57, Alice McCarthy, US 888-209 Fast, Dean Heiss, Harold Francis, J. Rod the Beer Guru, Nebanon G. Adams, and ZK Man. Then a shout out to Riff Racer Request and Sir Lance Elato and Mike Jackson. You rock. Thank you very much for being my Patreon Subscribestar members for the month of February. And if anyone else decides to join, at the next couple of days or so, I will add you into this list as well. You guys freaking rock. Have a wonderful one. And as always, God bless.